Hello back everyone. Now in exercise 16 we have this namespace called archive. So we go inside cluster. Scattered Corporation data engineering team needs to set up dynamic volume provision for their trade history archival system. Instead of manually creating persistent volume, the team wants volume to be automatically provisioned when persistent volume claim are created. So the first question is to create a namespace. Okay. Second, okay, it's already exists. Create storage class named SK archive with provisional launcher, claim policy retain, and volume. Okay, let's create. No, I cannot create with the command line. We have to use the YAML file. So from the YAML, go to the YAML file and create storage class with this. Claim PVC. So its storage class kind, metadata, its name, storage class has now cluster. It's has no namespace. It's cluster. It's cluster parameter name provider. So here is ranker, and we can use other providers. Depends on the deployment on VMware, on Red Hat, on bare metal, or and the return policy and the volume binding. So okay, sorry, I make PVC, but it should be storage class. Okay, MV. Okay, I will create it. F doc. Okay, let's see. It's created again. Get storage class. Okay, you have now two storage class with default provider launcher, and one is default and one is not. One is with the delete and one is with the retain policy. Now it creates storage claim name archiver PVC in the Sky Archive namespace 5 giga with access mode read write using the storage class created previously. So also we have to create storage class. So the storage class, the persistent volume class name data PVC. Its SkyTrad archive namespace with the read write always read write once because we are in local volumes, local storage class, not shared storage clusters. Storage class that we already created before, storage class archive, and the request 5 giga. Last is to create pod named archive writer in SkyThread archive using the image busybox 136 and both the PVC at archive data. So try to create pod. Okay, you cannot create pod with the command line. So we will go to DML option. So from Kubernetes manual configuration, we will vim pod dot YAML. So I will create my pod. So the pod name is archive writer in the SkyThread archive specs. It has containers, one container named archive writer default. Here we can change. We can put the if, for example, my container has two. My pod could have two container. Can use archive first container and writer second container, for example. Okay, and it use the image busybox with this tag, and it will write this command sleep, and we can add, for example, echo hello hello CKA exam. Okay, now it says mount on this folder volume mounts. So this is the volume mounts that will be used. And now we have to call the storage class already created in previous exercise. So volume here storage class. Okay, here the volume we will create a volume called archive vol with the persistence volume name archive data pvc, and it will present it to the container on this mount path. Here is volume mount because we are in file system. If we are in block volumes, should be device mounts, and here not file system. It will be something like this. Dev. Okay. So this is our pod. Now create the code. Create PVC. Apply. Sorry. And then apply pod. So I can logs. Can make the logs. We should see logs pod. Okay, what is the problem? Let's see the error logs describe. Container busy already on the machine. Okay, if there is error here, persistent claim. Mounts. Archive data. Should work still. Still, let's go to the pod. Okay, maybe in the okay, I understand. Here the spec volumes containers okay, volumes archive volumes. So I just modified this command line and I add the bin bash command line. Very important to make the codes here. And if you put the echo, very important is to make the phrase between the echo between small quotes. The okay here double quotes and here small quotes, and then I show the date. So now I come back to my container and it's here. Okay, I don't know if it's here. It show me the logs. So it's hello exam CKA and the date of today. But if I will go to the describe, check something else. Describe. There is no error, and even the PVC is already created and consumed by the PV. Here, archive data PVC is consumed with this PV on this storage class. Okay, let's go to the next exercise, or 17. So we have observed team in a skate Trade Corp wants to deploy a flight booking application with sidecar container that continuously collects and stream application logs. Additionally, the team requires that one-time initialization step to run before the main container starts to prepare the logging environment. So here we will use the notion of init container. So one container start before another one. Let's go here. So create a pod with two containers, one init container that will use this image and make this echo. The main container after the init container will continue with that the logs continue in this folder, and container named collector will log the logs and read the logs to the command. All the three containers init and regular, two regular, one init, must share the volume named volume log of empty dir. Empty dir is to use temporary folder on the host, not the storage class, most mounted in here. Ensure that ensure that init container completes successfully before the main container starts. So this exercise will create vim pod dot pod sky logging sky dot yaml. So we will start by creating the first init container. Okay. So we'll create standard container pod with the first container here, and it's launch the command scatter facing at date in local log files. The storage of this container should be mount a file here. So volume mounts we already speak about here, log volume. So all the container will use this log volume, and each container mount it inside its local path. Now the first is the init container. Now there is container, standard container. So the second container, okay, oh, I find to make container, not init container, container. So it's in the same, should be in the same indentation of init container here, and it has this image and this command line, so that make a loop and write the file on local pods, local share. Okay, we have another container. Here is containers. Sorry, here is containers. Okay, now we have another container named. Okay, I have to make indentation here. Should be in the same with the previous container. Here, name is log and has the local volume path like the other ones. Now we have to create the volume, the log volume. The log volume we have to create with this volume, and it will not use a PVC or storage claim, just the temporary folder inside the host. This volume is located. Okay, volume should be also with the indentation with in its container. So this volume, log volume, will be applied to all these three containers. So this is the final look of this file, and it has three containers and one volume. In skate threading. Now we will apply. Okay, let's check the test of this pot. Okay, we have all. We are two container are running. We did not see the init one because it stopped before the second and the other containers. Uh, if the init container files, the Kubernetes restarts according to the pod restart policy. So each container must contain successfully exit code 0 before the next one start. Init container are defined under spec init container, so and run sequentially before any regular container. The last container we call it sidecar pattern container. The log one is enhance the main container by providing log streaming capability. Both share the MTDR volume that are on the same mount pod. The flights upright logs and logs collector tiles them in real time. This is for real time container. Okay, let's see. Get logs. So if we want to see the init container of the logs inside the container, we can see the C and put the container name. For example, here container side collector. Okay, This is the book collector logs, container logs. If we want to see the main container, main app, okay, this will not will generate the the f- the folder, the logs inside the log files path, and send it in streaming to the other one. Okay, I don't know if we can see init things from the init container here. Log init. Well, okay, logs, flights, logs. Okay, this is okay. Now we go to the last exercise, 18, and we will. So in this exercise, the customer support team at SkyTrade Corp deployed a pod named dashboard in SkyTrade support namespace for the internal ticketed management system. However, the pod has been stuck in the raining stack. Okay, get pod dot n SkyTrade support. So we can find that it's raining. That if we can see the describe, it say that there is no node is available for it. Okay, so why? If we go inside the pod, we will find that it has tent, not selector. Okay, it has something called not selector, not selector, not selector here. Not selector. Okay, sorry. So if we go inside the node, we can find that it has a node selector team support. So that means that this pod will only be running in a node with this tag team support. But if we can go back to our nodes, we will not find this label. So there is no label. Oh wait. So the question is to label this node. Okay, this node to label it. So I just add this label. Okay, this node we have to label. This node, I will label my node in this way. Okay, not this, CK, not CK. My node is this. Okay, so I can get it's labeled normally with this. Now I can go back and I go get. Now it's running. So very important that node selector mismatch. This the pod require label that now node has. So this is very important to verify the node affinity. The affinity rows cannot be satisfied. So or the tent, the pod does not tolerate node paths. So there is pod tent, node tent, and not the selector mismatch. So it could be a problem of tent or a problem of selector mismatch, like we have. Also, there is insufficient resource. Sometimes the resource CPUs have, we have to see the limit range, or the PVZ not bound. So the PV the bound the pod reference PVZ that is not in bound state. Our resource code, if the cluster the namespace resource cost has the has bypassed. So to get the pod, now always check the pod event or the pod describe, or check the pod resource, check the pod spec for selector affinity and toleration, and check the PVC. Here in this example, we have checked the pod selector, check the pod spec, and we found it